Week 9, Lesson 6. Okay, so today's lesson is on something called piecewise functions, which means that you're going to be graphing things that are functions, but they're going to have limited domains. Okay, so let's start with this f of x1. Okay, so this is two separate functions. It equals 3 when your x values are less than or equal to 0, but it equals 2 if your x values are greater than 0. So if you look down below, numbers 1 through 4, you have to decide, where does this function exist? Is it less than or equal to 0, or is it greater than 0? So I am going to show you by highlighting. So I think you'll agree the stuff that I've highlighted in pink, those x values, those two, are less than or equal to 0, and the stuff that I've highlighted in blue, those x values are greater than 0. All right, so what you have to do is just plug the number into the correct function, right? It's two functions in one. So when I plug these in, I should get these values. Okay, so let's try the next one. Okay, so if you're taking a look down at G, when x is less than or equal to 3, we're going to have them the top function, and if x is greater than 3, it's going to be the blue function. So again, I'm going to highlight for you so you can see that in this particular case, only one of these functions is going to be evaluated for the bottom one, right? And the other three that are highlighted in red are going to be the top one. And here's the values that you should get. I am expecting that you're going to plug those numbers in and check for yourself. Okay, please don't assume that I'm automatically right. You've known me for a while now. I do make mistakes. All right, so let's take a look at the h function and highlight it. Okay, so let's see, I'll do the top one in green. So for the values of x that are less than or equal to -2, which would be this one and this one, right? Versus this one, these are the x values that are greater than -2, which would be this one and this one. All right, and if you evaluate those and plug those actually in, here's the values that you should get. Something like that. Okay, so again, I think the hardest part is recognizing that even though there's 2 or maybe even 3 functions, the x value that you are given will only work in one of them. It's never going to work in more than one. You just have to look at this x value and ask yourself, does it work here or does it work here? Whichever one it works in, then you know where to plug it in. Okay, so down here on the lower half of the first page, they want you to match which of these go with what. Now, what I tend to do on these is I look and I see where is sort of the dividing line. Like if I'm looking at this one right here, this one seems to divide at x equals 1, right? There's something happening to the left of x equals 1 and something happening to the right. So maybe it's this one, right? That has a dividing line of 1. Maybe it's this one. Maybe it's this one. These all have something happening to the left of 1 and to the right of 1. Okay, let's see some of the other ones. Let me switch colors. So like this one changes at 0. Something happens to the left of 0 or the right of 0. So maybe it's this one or this one. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Let me switch colors. This one changes, it looks like at -1. So this one, oh, hey, I know this one for sure right now. This one has to be C. 17 is C. Let me write that in. This one is C, or over here I could put that this is 17. Okay, so I've eliminated that one. So now let's take a look at the other ones. Let me go back to pink. Something's happening here for 1, so this is one of the pink ones. Something happening here at 1. Again, this is one of the pink ones. And then this one, something's happening at 0, so this is one of the blue ones. Okay, so you're going to have to kind of take a look at these graphs and see if you can figure out, based on the slope, based on the y-intercept, what matches with what. I'm going to leave that with you, and I'm going to put the answers up. So if you want to, now's your chance to pause. So there they are. And again, if you're not really understanding that very, very well, please get on my Zoom, ask me questions. I can further explain it. Okay, so for number 19, it says graph piecewise function. Okay, so I'm looking at this top one, and it's saying that something is happening to the left of 0. Okay, So this is a line. It has a y-intercept of 1. It has a slope of -3/2. So that means I need to go up 1, 2, 3, and left 2. And I'm only allowed to graph this to the left of 0. In fact, this point right here, let me erase it, or let me show you. This one, since it has a less than, it has to be an open circle, right? So I don't even get to put what I put there. Let me get rid of that and change it to an open circle. And I just realized that that other spot is in the wrong place too. There we go. Okay, so it's up 3, left 2, up 3, left 2. I do have a straight edge. So that's what the graph looks like to the left of 0. Now, to the right of 0 and including 0, I have a completely different graph. I've got a square root graph that has been moved down 2 units. So that means that this will be an end point, right? And then if I remember my parent graphs and just sort of move things over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It should look like this to the right of 0. All right, so let's try number 20. Okay, and again, I tend to like color coding. So to the left of 0, including 0, I have a line, and to the right of 0, I have an absolute value graph. Okay, so let me switch back to blue. My intercept here should be -1 with a slope of -2. Oh, and that is a closed circle. Okay, just making sure the end points are kind of important. Okay, so there's my line. Right? And then let me switch colors. For the green one, the vertex of that absolute value graph is going to be at 2, 3. It's an upward facing V. Okay, that part's pretty easy. And this one has to be open, very clearly open because of that inequality. X is not actually allowed to equal 0. It gets really close, but not exactly. All right, let me scoot up. Okay, so for number 21, this is actually kind of cool. There are 3 different things going on. There's something happening to the right of 3. There's something happening between -2 and 3. And there's yet a third different thing happening to the left of -2. So I'm going to go from left to right. So I'm going to start with the one that's in blue. To the left of -2, my function equals -8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's see, and it does include the -2. Okay, so this is a closed circle, and it looks like that. Okay. Next, in between -2 and 3, let me switch to pink. This is a parabola, right? This is a parabola. It's been moved down 7 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have a point there, over 1, up 1. Over 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's going to have to be open because of this. And then over 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, again, open circle. Okay, and again, you can see this happening here between -2 and +3. All right, and then the last one that I have to do in green, this is a line. Right? It has a y-intercept of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to erase that dot in a minute or two. It also has a slope of -1. 1, 2, 3. So this is where it starts, and it keeps going. Uh-oh. Did the whole thing move? It starts right there. It's got a slope of -1. Okay, now let me make sure I go back and erase those little spots that shouldn't be there, right? It won't erase. Well, this is great. Oh, there it goes. Okay. There we go. So that is what your picture looks like when it's piecewise function in 3 different spots. Okay, so this last one, I'm going to do the top from to the left of -2 in green, the stuff that's in between -2 and 0 in pink, and the stuff that's greater than 0 in blue. Okay, so I would like you to pause, see if you can do it, and then unpause. And hopefully your graph ended up looking something like that.